we are into it. So the 29th of December was Saturday. That's just passed. Mount Edgecombe, the Woods, playing off the Whites. It was a gross 85 for Mitch, and it was one of those days where you had to really grind. The greens weren't running smooth. They were having quite a lot of undulations, not necessarily from traffic, but also probably because of the way the grass has been cut. It was a difficult day. It was a really tough afternoon. I wasn't ready for the challenge at all. The last few rounds have been focused on up and down and getting that percentage up. And the hole by hole results are as follows. I was pretty optimistic starting with the 10th. Gave me a good opportunity to start building from the wedge backwards, and I did actually give myself a very good chance on hole number 10. I hit a very good approach, which gave me around about 105, 103 meters sort of carry distance to a spot that was about left of the yardstick, hoping to be somewhere on the left of the flag for somewhat of a birdie chance, but I actually hit it quite fat. So that was a sand wedge that was hit obviously maybe a little bit steep, and ended up having an up and down opportunity, which I felt I started much better with compared to the Thursday round. I found that the short game and just the grip and the setup around the ball has actually improved. It has changed. It has moved to fitting sort of the eye and also just fitting the target a bit better. I've also sort of maneuvered and manipulated a stance that does keep obviously my balance, on the front foot, but there are times where that's not necessary, and I have to got to consider whether you're actually hitting into the grain or with the grain when you have to hit a chip that needs to release, or you need to hit a chip that you have to make sure that the distance control is there. So unfortunately I didn't make a par. The putting's been as good as it's been all year with regards to not just the lines but also just the speed. I've been very happy with the setup, the grip, the pressure. Everything's going very well. I don't think the short game and some of the putts that I made today were the issue. Very good birdie to make on 11, where I hit a 3-wood, which should have been hit a lot more. I backed out of the 3-wood situations, the 3 holes from this point on. But I think the day was really about my collapse at 12, 13 and 14 consecutively, because I gave away 6 strokes over the 4 holes. It went double bogey because of being stuck in the sand for 2 on the par 3. Then I had hit a very poor approach from some semi-rough that really should have been up and down, and then I had a 3-wood on the head to follow on the par 5 14th, and then I 3-putted the 15th to put myself in a situation with 1 birdie, and there's been no pars but just bogeys up till this point, and it's already 3 holes to play to at least gauge where the momentum's going to go from halfway. And I just thought to myself, it's very unnecessary to be in that position. I felt as if the course did actually beat me up, and the wind can do that to you, but I tried to hit some of those, specifically penetrating shots, and found myself maybe hitting the ball, really a few inches maybe behind where I should have actually aligned. And the issue wasn't on the 16, 17, 18. I actually thought I finished quite well, just a very poor approach to the 18th. I had a distance of 99 meters, and then I actually talked myself into hitting a wedge, and that was just never on, given the way I've been hitting my wedges. It should have been a gap wedge all over the flagstick, but there's just another example of the moments where you actually have to take your chances. And I mean, there were 3 birdies on that front 9 that I could have had, and I only walked away with 1. And then unfortunately it was a really bad start for no apparent reason, but on hole 1 left myself a little bit too far back with getting my 3-iron, which also seemed to be falling into the 3-wood trap and getting worse, so the tee shots weren't helping. And then there was an up and down opportunity. I didn't get it. A 5-iron on the second, very badly hit. Well, it was actually a 3-iron that was badly hit. So the 3-iron was following the 3-wood, not being in the right setup. I think I must have moved extremely around the ball and just didn't actually see the lines. But yeah, just to go bogey on the par 5s is just unacceptable. It's now 3 over after 2 par 5s. Had a good birdie chance at least on hole number 5, where I had a 10-footer uphill, which I hit a little bit too firm, missed left. And then I had an opportunity to hit a driver, get excited for the 6th hole, because now there are chances that you can make that into a birdie hole week after week. But I put myself into left trap, and it was a very good sand blast that I gave it just past the pin and couldn't up and down. So the 7th hole must have been obviously the best swing of the day, because there was the first tempo which didn't seem rushed. I felt like I was always behind the ball and I didn't move off the ball, and there was a grade 7-iron that was actually hurting against the wind, pitched the front of the green and managed to release to the left. The 8th hole could have hit a 3-iron a lot better. Almost feels as if the head and the shoulders are a little bit in front of the ball, you are actually not catching the ball a little bit of space away from the heel. So unfortunately the face was wide open, and unfortunately I had to give myself a scrambling opportunity for par, and it was a 7-iron that I had to bump and run, but a really, really good opportunity to up and down and take the 3 points. And then unfortunately on the 9th, also just couldn't attack the pin. Maybe just the whole day of grinding it out and having just that little bit of energy just eat away on those 10-foot putts. Also with regard to some of the pressure of trying to hole out, didn't actually need the scoreboard pressure to be there with some of the shots, but unfortunately that must have contributed to being 10 shots off the pace. And at the end of the day, I'll give myself a rating of 3 out of 10 in terms of the tee shots, because normally that's the 7 or 8 out of 10. The wedges were all good, maybe steep on some, but the up and downs were a lot better, and the putting's really good. So looking forward to putting it all together in one round where I can really just keep the bogeys off the card. It's just unfortunately 3 or 4 holes that seem to be there, and maybe I need to step up on the holes that I know. For example, if I step on 11, there's just a completely different feeling with regards to how it's been going for the last few weeks, and it almost gives yourself a much better imagery, even if the wind had to be inadvertent with your tee shot. It just feels as though I've just gone 2 birdies on the 11th, and I can't actually feel that it's going to get any worse than par, just because of that positive stance that I have on the tee. There's some holes there you must just actually settle for par. I'm actually trying too hard to actually blast or flash something that's going to be a little bit greedy, and then I end up paying the price of a bogey or a double bogey. It's just funny that those holes always seem to be 12 and 13, just back to back. And then the par 5s are just non-negotiable. You need to hit that 3-wood off the deck and get that practice in where you have the confidence to pull that off with a fade. And at the end of the day, those par 5s, they have to be 2 good shots, and then you only need to have a 2-putt birdie for 3 of the par 5s on the woods. That's what's missing. Giving away 3-4 shots just on the par 5s, that doesn't make sense at all. But great birdie on the 11th, great opportunity for birdie on the 17th, and I did have a very good chance also on the 7th. So it's just a matter of switching on the computer and switching off the computer, especially with regards to how I see a hole. Been playing these holes with no complacency, being very optimistic in practice sessions, but obviously it's a different element that comes in on a Saturday afternoon. I mean, it really is the occasion mixed in with the different company, and then also the weather. So those three factors can all extrapolate into something of unnecessary tension, unnecessary thoughts that are obviously coming on with the setup, as well the alignment of the swing. So signing off today on round number 8. The experiment is moving forward. This week ahead is the new year. It's going to be really interesting to see if I can take some of the practice sessions into the round. I think what happens is the practice sessions have been so solid, it's just not being refreshed or not being revisited beforehand. And if I had to summarize the 4 things that I've learned, obviously in 2018, just with regards not to scoring, but just with regards to ball striking, it's been all about my left hand. It has all been about the grip pressure. Also, the setup for the short game has been really important, especially what the shoulder and the hips are doing, not in the full swing, but just even the 3/4 swing. And just very happy with how the putting has got very positive, always seems to keep me in the game. But yeah, look, sand saves around the green, that is still way behind, a lot of work to be done, and then I still feel that I'm not hitting the 3-wood and the hybrid on the level of capability that I know I can. There's no need to stripe those clubs, but if I get that extra 20 or 25% backswing, which is all a consequence of tension, then there's more opportunity of things going good than things that can go wrong. Just that extra 25% on the top of the swing. That's all it takes. And then, yeah, I have come up with some really good mental routines, and I've come up with some very good anomalies that are part of the walking. There's rhythm. There's a whole bunch that one can incorporate with the course, because you are trying to keep a certain rhythm throughout the course or throughout the elements that you play, and that can also keep the heart rate down, and then that also helps you make the right decisions, and then you can actually think better in the moment, because also that's also been a 2018 story, where if you are in a moment of distress, you have to take a moment to breathe, and I seem to always breathe through my mouth. I need to breathe more through my nose, because then I can actually take more time to actually make the best possible decision. So once again, it's not about the club or the shot shape, but I think it's more about the ground condition. How do you want the ball to actually release on the ground surface of the putting, and where to lead the ball? It's going to be definitely a 2019 story, because getting used to this distance control and being pin high is definitely something I want to work towards. All the best golfers are pin high. All the best golfers have that right down to a science, so I can't leave that open to chance. So signing off for an 85 gross off the white tees. It was the 29th of December. Looking forward to maybe playing the next competitive round on the 3rd of January, but that's to be confirmed. And I hope you enjoyed the golf and obviously the journey.